Welcome to BreitWerks. What are you looking at? 2016 Cayenne, baby base. But I'm falling in love with the color. I really do like the color. All right, so we're just taking a quick look under here. Looks like they've been using it as intended. Oh my goodness, it's actually some dirt. I'm gonna have to ask the owner. I hope they've been off-road with this thing. What's going on there? We'll see if we can tighten that clamp up a little bit. Looks like a little bit of an exhaust leak. That's weird, but we'll see if we can tighten the clamp. Transfer case looks good. Drive shaft, everything is, I'm shaking it, nothing's moving. Let's see, yeah, that whole thing looks pretty darn good up there. Let's check the back. Yep, that's good. All the axle boots look fantastic. So, not too bad for 60,000 miles. I can't figure out if that was like a previous coolant leak or something, so we'll clean it up a little bit. But it also just could be driving through puddles. So, we'll see. I don't know. Doesn't really look like that kick plate's in the wrong spot. Oh, this is weird. That is not supposed to be like that, but we're taking it off anyway, so it doesn't matter. Front axle boots look good. All the uprights look good. No perished ball joint bushings. Axle boots look good. Wow, not too bad. All right, we're gonna start taking some stuff apart. We'll take you through this annual service. I've already done the little things to get to know the car. So like the wipers are already done. We checked all the fluids, checked the brake fluid, everything looks good. So now we got her up on the rack and we're just looking around. Everything up there is looking okay. So let's get these panels off. All right, we've got the panels off. Let's see, transmission looks good. We'll spray all this stuff down and do a little bit of cleaning once we drain the oil. And then up here, I don't know, maybe this wasn't fitted quite properly and it was allowing water to get sucked up, but we'll clean it up to make sure that it's not I don't really see any pink stuff. This is just more like driving through dust in the rain. Everything else looks pretty solid. Let's look at the motor mounts. It may be sagging just a tiny bit, but 60,000 miles. Not unexpected, but the car did not show any vibration, so we'll just leave those alone for now. Man, that sway bar is enormous, but yeah, everything looks pretty good. There was one thing interesting to me, because I've never seen this happen, but on the long pan, it looks like every single one of the plastic rivets failed, which I don't understand that. Not sure how that happens, but we may have to either do a repair with some actual pop rivets, or we'll see how it fits up in here, if it'll stay by itself. But yeah, because the only thing that guy does, you see, it's actually an inlet, right? So he's sucking air and he's putting it across the transmission and the does he go to the transfer case? No, it doesn't, unless that air is coming all the way back through there. But we'll see if we can get that fixed to the best of its abilities. And yeah, no oil leaks. That is great news. We're gonna go drop some oil out of this thing. All right, so we are just about done with the underside. Cut the filter open. Everything looked really good in there. We've done a little bit of pearl on the black plastics just to protect them. And then all of the black steel parts get a little coat of spray wax. It's a Florida car, so it doesn't have to deal with salt on the roads, but it is a car that does go beachside on occasion. So we're gonna use our favorite Bow Shield, and we're just gonna do all the aluminum stuff, give it a quick little coating, and that way we don't end up with any kind of corrosion or anything, just a very light coat. But yeah, and maybe we can come back here and put a little bit on a rear differential. Those tend to get a little gross, only because, hey, they're sitting down there at the bottom. Let's see, we do those upper A-arms. Yeah, wow, not a bad little truck. The nice thing about this is, even with the V6, you know, low maintenance, all of that type of stuff, but it's got a real transmission and it's not a PDK, so you can tow with this thing. And I think up to 7,500 pounds. That's still the big selling point on the Cayennes as opposed to the Macans, because these guys will do a very, very nice job if you ever have to tow something. If you don't, well, then a Macan's probably perfect. But yeah. All right, we're gonna go topside. All right, I know I said we were going topside, but I want to show you guys one last trick. Actually, two. So remember when we took this apart, this guy was just crushed up in there because this little edge is supposed to sit in there. So what it did was these were just plastic welds around here. So what I did is the same thing Porsche did back here for this aluminum NACA duct that they have in for the, it looks like it's for the transfer case. So I just went in and I put in some pop rivets, and now that guy's good. The other thing is, when you're tightening these down, you should hit them, make sure there's no vibration. There was a vibration pretty bad. And what you can see here is I actually stuck a piece of silicone, right? This is just rubber, orange silicone. And I put it where this little clamp comes down, because this little clamp has bowed and it wasn't holding it tight. So when you hit it, it was just rattle, rattle, rattle. You know, and that just happens. You know, can you prevent all this stuff? Absolutely. That gets bowed because somebody just cranks these down way too hard. Remember, if you're not using a torque wrench, this is just hand tight, but 10 Newton meters, right? 6.5, 7 foot-pounds. Same thing up here. There were a couple like little cracks. There's a crack. And these cracks, believe it or not, that doesn't happen from driving. That happens when somebody's putting this in, taking it out. So we don't know where the car was taken care of before he purchased it. And then for this thing, I'm gonna tell the owner about it. I sprayed it down with some 656, but if I put a turn on that bolt, it is going to snap, and we're gonna end up having to replace that whole clamp. And you know, he was expecting a quick and easy annual service and not to have to wait for parts. So clearly it's been driving like that for quite some time, so it's not gonna hurt anything. Yeah, it just looks like these clamps. I'm surprised. I mean, I don't know why that exhaust ever would have been off, but anyway. All right, now we go topside and fill her up with oil. All right, we're topside. We are adding the last little bit. Now remember, Motul, which I love, I highly recommend you use it, right? Because direct fuel injection motor. So these motors are very susceptible to coking and stuff happens. So Motul is like the best thing out there. They do not have an XS version for the C30, the 5W30 that Porsche calls it a C30 approval. This is C30 approved, but they don't make a XS. So you'll see me using that on the cars where we do a 5W40. We do a little bit heavier weight oil, and that's an A40. But when you're doing Motul, these things all come in liters. This truck, or this motor, this 3.6 liter V6, takes 6.7 liters. It's 7 quarts, but 6.7 liters. So this guy, they ship all this, right? This is made in France. They ship all this in quarts, in liters. But you do have your, on this side it measures quarts, on this side it measures liters. So 6.7 liters, you know, once you empty the first bottle out, then you fill it back up right between the 1.5 and the 2. So you're right around 6, 7, or I guess in this case it would be 1.7, 1.75 liters that you're adding to the original 5-liter bottle that you poured in. So don't overfill these guys, don't underfill these guys. But that's where the conversion gets lost. So if you do take the recommendation, you go out there and get Motul, and the price of this shit went up again, but it's very, very good motor oil. So you know, you're not going to pay what is Mobil 1 is, you know, under 10 bucks a quart. This stuff is 12 to 15 a quart, depending on which viscosity you get. But other than that, I think I always like to just let the bottle settle, see if there's anything left in it. And there's not, so we're done. And basically the only thing we've got left to do, make sure we put the oil cap on in the correct orientation. But basically it looks like the only thing we've got left to do is just clean this engine bay up a little bit. So we will leave you there. 2016 wiper. Oh, we checked the brake fluid. It had 0% water in it, so we don't need to make a recommendation to do brake fluid. We checked the power steering fluid, because remember, this guy has a filter in the bottom of him, and it still looks pretty clean. You know, 60,000 miles, nothing major. And then coolant looked good too. So yeah, cool little truck. I actually wasn't sure how I'd feel about it in red. I thought maybe red would just be too much, but this is almost like a carmine red. I'm sure somebody will correct me out there. Do we have a paint code? No, we don't have a paint code there, but it's almost like a carmine red, and it really, really looks awesome, especially with the tan interior. So very cool car. All right, well, if you are taking care of your own Porsche, or hey, you just like watching these videos, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Check us out at BreitWerks.com and there's a fan in there somewhere, but it's water cooled. So still have a fantastic day.